trending the wrong way. And that if we didn't do something soon, that we would be in bankruptcy. So at that point, I had to make a move.
A local mayor explaining why he blew the whistle on his former police chief. The man, now facing federal charges, is accused of siphoning hundreds of thousands of dollars from the city.
How did they let him do that? Steal that much money from the city? How did they let him do it?
Velda City resident Gladys Cole has plenty of questions after hearing a former police chief and city administrator is accused of stealing hundreds of thousands of taxpayer dollars.
There need to be better checks on what's going on.
According to the federal indictment, beginning in 2021, Daniel Polino issued city checks to himself, deposited city money into his bank account, and used the city credit card for personal expenses. Plus, he sent city dollars to two companies, one he owned, the other his wife owned. He's also accused of using city dollars on a tow truck that he then registered in his name. In total, the feds say he stole over $313,000.
When someone's being evasive and things are not adding up, there's probably some impropriety going on.
Velda City Mayor Derek Gill says he took over after Paulino left his job in March of 2024, but he quickly realized the city's finances were out of whack. When the Board of Aldermen did not want to investigate, he says he called the FBI.
If we didn't do something soon, that we would be in bankruptcy. So at that point, I had to make a move.
Polino's last day with the city was a bit of a spectacle when all of the police department's officers and Chief Polino abruptly quit.
We literally couldn't afford the police anymore.
Gill adds he believes Polino's alleged theft, tacked onto his $95,000 salary, bled the police budget dry. Now, Velda City contracts with Pageale Police, but Gill says the city can only afford to pay for patrols 12 hours a day.
What? 12 hours? We need somebody here 24 hours.
Residents like Cole are alarmed, and Mayor Gill is too. He tells First Alert 4 they are working to have a police department that works around the clock.
We don't feel safe.
A former Mobile police officer has been arrested on a homicide charge in connection to a fatal traffic accident. I want to go to our Brendan Kirby now for the very latest on this. Brendan, catch everyone up.
Lenny's, his name is Roy Adams Jr. He was in and out of Mobile County Metro Jail in about 20 minutes. The charge is homicide by vehicle. This is a Class C felony that carries a prison range of 1 to 10 years if convicted. This stems from an accident that occurred in July of last year on Old Shell Road and Mobile Infirmary Boulevard. Summer Howard was taken to a local hospital and eventually died. A Fox 10 News investigation revealed this was one of 4 wrecks that Officer Adams was involved in last year. Now, this is different from an intentional murder charge, which involves purposeful conduct, or even a vehicular homicide charge. This charge has to do with an alleged violation of traffic laws leading to a death. I just got off the phone with an MPD spokesman. He tells me that Officer Adams voluntarily resigned about 3 weeks ago and that it didn't have anything to do with this deadly crash.
Good morning, and welcome to the Bad Apple Report. It's 7:30 a.m. bright and early right here at home on the range. Thank you so much for being here today, folks. I really appreciate it. We're going to start right out in the unfriendly skies. Well, I guess depends on how you look at it. This ex-cop, he's now an ex-cop. He thought he was being friendly. He was being real friendly. This bad apple is busted for whipping his worm out. It says here, ex-police captain slapped attendant and exposes himself on plane to California, feds say. Okay, try explaining that one to the wife, buddy. Anyway, it says here, a former California Highway Patrol captain who lost his job with the state police agency slapped a flight attendant's buttocks and exposed his genitals to another crew member on a JetBlue flight to Los Angeles in April. Federal prosecutor says his name is Dennis Wally Woodbury. Wally, whipping out his worm Woodbury, age 49, started acting inappropriately with the 2 male flight attendants. Uh-oh. Before the plane took off from Fort Lauderdale, Florida on April 13th. Dennis Wally. April 13th, according to the U.S. Attorney's Office, Central District of California. Got some splaining to do, Dennis Wally. He had been heavily drinking on the aircraft, prosecutors said. On May 1st, a federal grand jury indicted Woodbury of Azusa in Los Angeles County on 1 count of sexual abusive contact within the special maritime and territorial jurisdiction of the U.S. and the U.S. Whoa! Well, that's not like whipping out your worm at the bookstore now, is it, Wally? Okay, He's free from custody on a $50,000 bond following his initial court appearance on April 15th. Records show Woodbury's federal public defender, Anik Jordan, didn't immediately return McClatchy News' request for comment on May 2nd. Okay, so he's got Darth Vader as his public defender. How's that going to work out for you, buddy? Okay, an FBI task force officer investigated Woodbury, and they wrote in court filings that the California Highway Patrol had dismissed him from state service. Yeah, that's unbecoming. Okay, the reason was specific by the FBI officer, who's also a Los Angeles Police Department detective. Whoa. Okay, well, aboard the plane destined for Los Angeles International Airport, here's how it went down, you guys. Court documents say that one of the flight attendants, harassed by Woodbury, reported that he drank a full bottle of Prosecco wine, sparkling wine, within 3 hours. Did he knock back a couple of Bartles and James to go along with it? Okay. Before Woodbury later slapped the flight attendant, he showed another flight attendant a photo of a dog, according to the court documents. And the picture behind the dog was a blurred image of what appeared to be two men having X, court documents say. Following takeoff and meal service, Woodbury slapped one flight attendant's buttocks as he gathered travelers' meals trays, according to the prosecutors. Oh, Woodbury. Pull it together, buddy. Woodbury then yelled that he loved him. Prosecutors said, seriously? Come on, Dennis Wally Woodbury, you goofball. At some point afterward, Woodbury is accused of approaching the flight attendant who he showed the inappropriate photo to at the front of the plane, and he exposed his genitals, according to the prosecutor. Flight attendant told Woodbury he was being inappropriate. Then Woodbury asked if he could have wine, prosecutors said. Woodbury, according to prosecutors, exposed his genitals again by pulling down his pants after the crew member wouldn't give him more alcohol. Flight attendant told Woodbury, enough, go back to your seat. Whoa! How about tell him to zip it up first? Anyways, Woodbury is also accused of telling one of the flight attendants to take a cruise with him before making what prosecutors called a crude hand gesture. A JetBlue spokesperson told McClatchy News on May 2nd that the safety of our customers and crew members were a top priority, and he added that the airline took immediate action at the time they notified law enforcement. Yeah, we have zero tolerance for this kind of knucklehead activity. They didn't say that. I'm just paraphrasing. If convicted, Woodbury would face up to 2 years in prison, according to the U.S. Attorney's Office. Whoa! Dang. Got drunk, got horned up, whipped it out. Got to go home and explain it all to your wife. What an idiot. Okay, let's move on with the show.
Tonight, Lorraine's police chief is off the job.
Chief James McCann was placed on paid administrative leave and is the subject of an investigation into his actions and decisions.
News 5 investigator Scott Knoll has the latest now on what he's discovered in Lorain.
The chief's parking space here at the Lorain Police Department empty after the city's mayor and safety director placed Police Chief James McCann on leave. Lorain Police Chief James McCann ordered to turn in his badge and gun. The chief, now the subject of what the city is calling an internal and external investigation. According to the April 25th notice to the chief, that investigation will look to see if McCann's actions and decisions as chief align with departmental policies and professional standards. The letter does not go into any more detail, but does say the investigation is in relation to a March Office of Professional Standards report. That report, obtained by News 5 investigators, examined claims of retaliation and discrimination by a former Lorain police lieutenant. The 400-page report cleared McCann of those allegations. However, investigators did acknowledge McCann is, quote, often unprofessional in the work environment with his comments, and referenced what they called McCann's boorish and unbridled personality. While on paid leave, McCann is barred from making any public statements that could interfere with or influence the investigation. We've learned the Lorain County Sheriff's Office's newly formed Public Corruption Unit will handle the investigation. A spokesman says investigators received and are reviewing statements and information, and that if any potential criminal acts are found, those findings will be turned over to the county prosecutor's office. A sheriff spokesman said he's not sure how long this investigation will take. In the meantime, Deputy Police Chief Mike Failing is in charge here at the Lorain Police Department. In Lorain, I'm News 5 investigator Scott Knoll.
Alrighty, folks, we're in Mendocino County, where the grass is always greener, and we have a deputy who allegedly drove to a Willits bar and crashed his patrol car. You guys, I know Willits. That's a great little town. course, we only ever, it was the halfway point. When we were kids, we would fly into the little airport there and fuel up and fly on into Fort Bragg. That was what we did when we were kids. A Mendocino County Sheriff's deputy is under investigation after allegedly taking a county-owned patrol vehicle to a Willits bar while off duty, crashing it into a guardrail and then continuing on to spend the night drinking before driving the damaged vehicle home. What are you going to do? As per a press release obtained by Mendo Fever, I love it. Even their newspapers up there are just, they're right on. The incident came to light on April 24th when a sheriff's sergeant arrived at the Willits substation and noticed damage to a patrol vehicle. The damage included paint and some crush damage to the passenger side quarter panel, according to the Mendocino County Sheriff Matt Kendall. Sheriff Matt Kendall elaborated on the findings in an interview, confirming that the video from the patrol car shows the deputy struck the guardrail on his way to the bar, continued on his way, and would spend the night at the establishment before driving the damaged vehicle home. All evidence led Kendall to believe that the deputy had been intoxicated, although no sobriety test was conducted at the time. Maybe he's just a natural knucklehead who don't know how to drive. He might have just been sitting in that bar, chit-chatting with everybody. We have no evidence. I wonder how it's going to turn out. The deputy, who served in both patrol and corrections divisions for over 3 years, did not report the damages required. When the damage to the vehicle, they were supposed to immediately send an email out to the county for a damage form. Well, not when you got to go chit-chat with your buddies at the bar for a while. He was going to get around to it. Come on. That's what his lawyer is going to say. Allegedly. Deputy's actions were in clear violation of department policy, which allows use of patrol vehicles for official duties such as training, court appearances, or when on call. When asked whether the deputy had any previous incidents of red flags related to alcohol use, Kendall responded, "No previous incidents, no red flags." He acknowledged that California employees are required to offer assistance for substance abuse issues, and the department does so proactively when needed. Wow. Send him a 12-pack of beer and tell him everything's going to be all right and give him a good lawyer, right? You don't get to do things like this and have a clean slate, Kendall said. Oh, come on, Kendall. Don't try to yank our chain here at the Bad Apple Report. We know better. Kendall said the matter was immediately reported to the California Highway Patrol's Garberville office, which is now not doing a damn thing about it. They say they're investigating, including possible charges of DUI, which we'll never hear about. Reckless driving, never going to hear about that. Hit and run, damage. Oh, no. This is all just for us to consume and hope. None of that's going to happen. This goofball is going to get off. As far as I could tell, they didn't even give us his name, did they? All right. No picture, no name. Oh, of course, because he's not arrested. He's just your typical bad apple knucklehead meant for content. Let's move on with the show.
The raid on the illegal underground nightclub in Colorado Springs made national headlines. Out of more than 100 people detained that night, Juan Arona Rodriguez is the first to be charged, and federal agents say he wasn't just in the crowd. He was inside selling cocaine. According to court documents, he's an active duty staff sergeant in the U.S. Army, stationed at Fort Carson, and also the co-founder of Immortal Security, a company that hired soldiers to guard after-hours events at the underground club. Investigators say Arona Rodriguez worked the door while buying and selling cocaine for months, supplying drugs to people inside. His text messages pulled from a search warrant tell the story, coordinating pickups and negotiating prices for ounces of cocaine. Court documents show Arona Rodriguez sold cocaine to an undercover DEA agent in a parked car outside of his home. Agents say he also offered to sell a firearm with a high-capacity magazine to someone in the country without proper authorization in exchange for drugs. He's now facing 2 federal drug charges for cocaine possession and distribution. The U.S. Army confirmed he was previously told he wasn't allowed to work off-duty security, but investigators say he kept showing up armed and active in the drug trade. If convicted, Arona Rodriguez could face up to 40 years in prison. He's expected in court again on Tuesday. Rhea Cha, 9 News.
Folks, we have ourselves an angry thumb here. downright disturbed digit. Check him out. I don't know. Maybe that's just his natural resting dick face. Most shocking thing about this story is this guy had a girlfriend. Former Smithfield police officer was charged with shooting at his girlfriend. That's what the Johnson County deputies say, and according to the Johnson County Sheriff's Office, Michael the lover boy Jernigan, age 41, who's obviously attracted to blind women, allegedly, he was charged with assault with a deadly weapon after deputies say he shot into his girlfriend's car. Okay, so maybe blind women can't drive. Maybe she is just hard of seeing when he's around. A former Smithfield police officer, okay, we already said that. He's been charged with shooting into the woman's car, and he was charged with deadly and blah, 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 this, that, and the other. And he was an officer with the Smithfield Police Department for 5 years before he resigned near the end of his 2021. And according to LinkedIn, Jernigan's a former soldier, and he helped train enlisted soldiers in the Army. Okay. He bonded out of jail under condition that he doesn't contact the victim and stays away from her home and work. All right. Jernigan, you are a bad apple and a goofy-looking thumb. That's true. And we hope your girlfriend gets help with her eyes. Okay, let's move on with the show.
A woman is in the hospital this morning after a San Antonio police officer slammed into her SUV.
It happened around 11:30 last night at the intersection of Culebra and Arcadia Creek. Now, the officer was responding to another crash just up the road when he rear-ended one car. That then crashed into another. The driver of the first car was taken to the hospital and is listed in stable. Neither the officer nor the driver in the second car were injured, but the second driver did receive a ticket for not being insured.
You guys are the very best. I was reading your comments between songs yesterday, and I was just laughing and getting a kick out of all of you. You guys are wonderful. You're all funny. You're entertaining.
Wow.
You keep me going with your comments. You really do. I appreciate you, and I'm going to whip up another batch of bad apples just for you, and we'll see you back here tomorrow morning at 7:30 a.m. bright and early. Have a great day.